guys! Today we'll be recapping a story, The Crazy Killer Whale's Favorite Penguin. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot. Enjoy! This story begins in complete darkness, but then something cracks and a flash of light appears. The gap becomes bigger, and our girl overhears several people applauding their tower master, Reynos, on a successful experiment. Reynos sounds familiar to her because it is the same name as the female lead's magic teacher in a novel she was reading a while ago. So she starts staring at the smiling blue-haired guy, and yes, this is the same Reynos described in the novel, which can only mean that she is inside a novel herself. She is excited to find out which character she has reincarnated into, so she begins scanning her surroundings, and seeing how fancy the room is and how delighted the tower master is to see her, she concludes that she could be inside the female lead's body. But wait, before we get to the I was reborn into the female lead's body cliches, something feels wrong as Reynos takes her hand and carries her while introducing himself as her father. The darkness and the cracking earlier were because she was inside an egg, and as shocking as it sounds, she was reborn as a penguin. Not just any penguin, but an extremely adorable, cuddly baby Piplup. The novel she is currently in is a romance fantasy with an anthropomorphic trope, which means it is set in a world with non-human characters. To summarize the plot, the male lead is a wolf anthro who imprinted on the human female lead, who healed him. Wolf anthros have a trait called imprinting, which sounds romantic in the book but is actually a very wild form of love, just like the one the female protagonist experienced. Because once a person gets imprinted, the wolf goes completely obsessive and won't let go. Regardless, our girl doesn't know much since she was bedridden just before she got reincarnated and could only read up to the halfway point of the book. Back to the present, our little penguin discovers that she is an Adelia penguin, a type of penguin known to be baddies, and Reynos names her Adelia as a result. The poor baby cries silently just thinking about being reborn as a penguin, and a magic lab experiment at that. But oh well, it didn't take her long to start adoring the princess penguin treatment she's been getting from her dad for the last 4 years. She gets the greatest quality penguin food, special clothing designed for her, and even her own pool. Oh, the need to hug her just once! Still, there are times when she wishes to be human again, so she prays every night, but not until she learns that her father despises anthropomorphs because he was discriminated against as a child. In this novel, pure humans are referred to as lower-level beings, and as she has grown to love her father and does not want to be loathed by him, she abandons her dream of becoming an anthro and instead wishes to live happily as a pengu with daddy. But one day, a dashing man with golden eyes and wavy white hair comes to the magic tower because he's interested in our little penguin. Adelia has concerns about this killer whale anthro named Sordell for a few reasons. First, his good looks definitely don't belong in an extra role. Second, killer whales normally have a mix of black and white hair, but this guy has silver hair only. And third, in the novel, the house whale are just extras with little screen time. But now they're one of the continent's most powerful families. Anyway, she can't help but stare at him, which Sordell finds odd because most other beings are afraid of him. So he starts beaming and hopes to befriend our little penguin. He pokes her cheeks, which irritates our hot-tempered lady, but it doesn't stop Sordell from poking her beak. But no cutesy here, she bites him so hard that it begins bleeding. Daddy is traumatized, while Sordell merely heals his wounds and declares that he likes her even more. Sordell pays a visit the next day, and Leah instantly uses her evil gaze and growls at him. But this guy finds her adorable and even begins to feel shy as she continues to stare. Sorry, Leah, but no matter how hard you try, you still appear cute to everyone. Sol continues to visit her on a daily basis, and if I were Leah, I would have surrendered for his smiles, but our damsel completely ignores this lovely man. One evening, Leah lies down in bed, hoping that Sol will grow tired of visiting her. But now that she thinks about him, she remembers how he healed himself despite the fact that he's an anthro, which is remarkable because in the novel, only pure humans may use magic. Even though she knew from her father that the House of Whale is the sole human race capable of using magic, she couldn't shake the question of So's true identity until she drifted to sleep. Looks like she's got another issue on her hands. The following day, our tiny penguin transformed into a human. Her human form is just as adorable and lovely. Even though she has always wanted to be an anthropomorph, her father's hatred of them has made her nervous about how he will react to her newfound identity. She tries to calm herself and decides to turn back into a penguin, but it appears that this does not come naturally to her, and she is now unable to return to being an animal. No, seems like cute pengu visuals won't be coming our way for a while. Her worst nightmare then knocks on her door. Her father, leaving her with no choice but to jump from the window and run away, promising to return once she figures out how to transform back into an animal. But instead of escaping for a little while, she ends up kidnapped, ensnared in a carriage, and her emergency funds stolen. After some time, the carriage comes to a halt, and she overhears the kidnappers discussing how the house whale will reward them well for finding the anthropomorph they've been searching for. As we all know, So thinks Leah is simply a penguin, so this makes no sense. Speaking of the bubbly guy, he opens the carriage, which enrages Leah because it confirms that he is not just a penguin stalker, but also a kidnapper, whereas So simply stares at her and calls his mother. When his mother, Bella, finds Leah tied up, she quickly asks So to release her. Bella then goes over to the kidnappers and informs them that they are, in fact, searching for a whale anthropomorph, before furiously telling them that she never authorized them to kidnap one. It seems like they're not bad guys or anything. After ordering that the kidnappers be arrested, Bella apologizes to Leah and introduces herself with motherly affection, promising to return her home. Ma'am, our girl can't return home in her human form. So, seeing how friendly Bella and So are, she chooses to be direct and asks Bella to teach her how to transform back into her animal form. She explains that she does not want to hurt the one she loves, thus she can only return in her animal form, which prompts Bella to explain that this is something anthros naturally learn, but she does welcome her to the house whale until Leah is able to. Aw, Mommy looks so pretty and nice. This is a great offer, but Leah is confused as to why Bella is eager to assist her. She discovers that due to an incident, Bella is no longer able to have children, so House Whale has been looking for whale anthros to ensure that their line does not stop in generation. This still does not make sense to Leah, but not until she notices her reflection in the window. She has black hair and comparable white strands like Bella's, which leads her to gasp as she realizes they think she's a killer whale anthro. She then pauses for a moment to compose herself, remembering her dad, who is likely feeling quite anxious right now, and resolves to swiftly master the process of transforming back into her animal form and returning home. As she looks at Lady Bella and Sordell, she considers sharing that she's not attempting to mislead them and revealing her true identity as a penguin. However, as she looks at Sordell, she feels a sense of unease about how he might react if he discovers her true identity as a penguin. Leah is freaking out about what to do when Lady Bella suddenly asks her name, and she just starts to stammer. Sordell then blurted out the name Leah, making Adelia stop in surprise and quickly look at him. But he swiftly followed up by suggesting that if she doesn't have one, Leah could be a suitable option for her name. This causes her to nervously chuckle as she takes the nickname, while So reveals that it is the name of the girl he is courting, causing Leah to look at him eerily as she considers him really ridiculous. Sordell suddenly moves closer to her, curious to know if she's afraid of him, causing her to scream quietly, but she also finds him appealing up close. So, before he can entice her with his looks, she assures him that she has no reason to be terrified of him, making him smile and telling her that he thinks he would like her better than the original Leah. Does he know? After that, when Bella gets alone time with So, she asks him what he thinks about Leah, giving him the idea that his mom finds it odd that Leah can communicate well given how recently she became human. Yet Leah's existence gives Bella hope that their lineage isn't extinct, prompting Sordell to remind his mom not to put too much pressure on Leah because she's only recently become a human. Bella assures him that he does not need to be concerned because she will only assist Leah integrate into society and find someone decent. It doesn't matter to her if Leah will not marry a killer whale, and she has no intention of ever forcing her to give birth to a killer whale anthro either. What a relief that Mommy is such a sweetheart! Anyway, this prompts So to remind her that he is also a killer whale, surprising his mother and making her wonder whether he has fallen in love. Sordell quickly denies this because he already knows how forming a relationship with him will end, causing his mom to slap his back, which leaves him a little puzzled. Bella asks him sternly if he regrets meeting her or his father, Primo, which stuns him and prompts him to assure his mother that he has no such regrets. I am confused, but is he adopted or what? She is pleased with his answer and chooses to change the subject, instructing him to take Leah to the market district the next day to get whatever she needs. Bella will not be joining them tomorrow as she needs to prepare for his father's arrival, and before her son leaves the room, she tells him how much she loves him, prompting So to crack a smile and say the same. I love how loving the parents are. Meanwhile, Leah is surprised to see her room, which heightens her guilt for acquiring it through deception, but she quickly dismisses it after seeing her human form in the mirror and decides to go over the tasks she needs to complete. First, she must figure out how to return to her animal form while also ensuring that Sordell and other killer whale anthropomorphs never catch her. Thinking about her father upsets her since, according to the novel, a disease that only affected pure humans will soon spread at such a terrifying rate that it would shake the world. And in the end, Anemone, the female lead, is the only pure human to live, implying that her father died from the disease. Now that she's in her human form, she's eager to change the original novel to save her dad. She's still thinking about everything when Sordell knocks on her door with a smile, declaring that he misses her. This leaves her a bit puzzled, since she can't figure out what was going on in his mind when she was a penguin, and now she's just curious about why he's interested in her. Leah feels a rising sense of anxiety, knowing that Sordell believes she's a killer whale anthro. She's unable to disclose her true identity to him, and she contemplates how Sordell might react if he discovers that she's the penguin in the magic tower. Dear, I think he knows? So then proposes that they visit the house whale territory, which is an island surrounded by the sea, so she can practice her shifting there. She immediately expresses her desire to simply practice where they are now, but So says no because she requires water for her practice. You know, as a killer whale, so she really can't refuse. Now that Leah thinks about it, if the house whale needs water, why are they living in a townhouse? This prompts So to explain that whale anthros can stay human longer than other beings, and they can simply use transportation magic to return to their territory. Anthropomorphs must return to their animal form on a regular basis, or their physique will become exhausted. All types of anthros have their own species specialty. For example, wolf anthros become knights thanks to their amazing strength, and elephants are typically master craftsmen. The novel never addresses whale specialties, which intrigues Leah, but So interrupts her thoughts by asking why she keeps calling him Sordell and if she can call him by his nickname. Leah puts a line between them by claiming they aren't close and only met today, causing So to get curious about her initial impression of him. Leah bluntly tells him that he's just meh. However, all changes as So unleashes his charms and starts dazzling like a male lead, convincing our girl to finally admit that she doesn't dislike him. This causes him to instantly say that he likes her too, prompting the two to argue before he chooses to give her a blue dazzling stone that he is supposed to give to his Leah. Our girl likes the stone, but she refuses to accept it. So throws it out the window without thinking twice, and before leaving, he tells her that they will go shopping tomorrow. That's tomorrow's worry, but her current problem is the stone, so she keeps peering in the terrace as So watches her clearly concerned. That night, Leah won't slumber because of the gleaming rock that So threw. You know why? Because our tiny pengu has an unhealthy obsession with bright rocks, especially those that are beautiful and expensive. Adelia penguins love rocks but hate admitting it, and while she was still at the magic tower, So used to offer her shiny pebbles as bribes to get a handshake or a hug, but Leah never gave in. However, that won't be happening this evening. Without hesitation, Leah unlocks the door and dashes out to the backyard to rescue her precious jewel-like rock. He definitely knows your identity. Leah is tiptoeing down the hallway when her head begins to ache and she feels like throwing up. This is the same situation she had the night she turned human, which means she may return as a penguin this time, which is terrible, but oh no, her body gives in and she returns as a pengu. The first person to see her is So, who, as I suspected, knows her identity. He then carries her and pats her to calm her down, which works while Leah sobs and assumes the soft voice is her father's. Among her many fears, the one she fears the most is the possibility of her father's rejection. No, I bet your dad is just worried about you. Being reborn as an animal fills Leah with nothing but fear, but Reynos introduces her to the concept of family love, and as a result, she develops an intense bond with her dad and finds it hard to imagine the possibility that he will leave her when the time comes. Perhaps Daddy could use a wifey to prevent him from turning into a bad guy when the big reveal happens? I'm not pointing fingers, but sir, yes I do. The next morning, she is astonished to wake up beside the handsome Sordell, so she swiftly gets up and finds she isn't in her room, while this mischievous so playfully hides under the blanket, noting that they are moving too quickly. Leah feels embarrassed and confesses that she doesn't remember anything, prompting So to get serious, as he tells her that anthros who are new to shifting may experience fever or hallucinate, which could be the reason she's in his room. To give Leah the chance to explain, is he trying to cover things up? Regardless, she expresses her apologies and So holds her hand tenderly, his expression one of concern that she suffered through the pain alone last night. Even though she still doesn't trust him, he sincerely hopes that she'll come to him in times of pain. Leah is taken aback by his genuine worry, but she still continues to reject him. Fortunately, our killer whale here is prepared, so he returns the stolen emergency fund to her in exchange for her word that she will seek him out in times of trouble. He gives her a concerned look and says he's truly worried, which makes Leah blush and vow to tell him if she's in pain. After that, So invites our girl to join him for some fun by teleporting to the training grounds, a plan she gladly accepts. They hold hands and right away teleport to the training grounds, which amazes her, but it appears the knights aren't pleased to see their master. So becomes curious as to who Leah believes is avoiding him, and because she refuses to give him a name, he threatens to interrogate the knights one by one, forcing Leah to point to a poor, bulk, baby-faced knight. This drives So to pull himself up to Leah, claiming that he is a magic swordsman with cool muscles, and he demands that she not look at other men since it makes him jealous. It's so cheesy that Leah only focuses on the part where he says that he can use magic and wield a sword, making him too powerful for an extra. And she's starting to suspect that he's a villain in the story. Is he? Anyway, So mumbles to remember her taste in men, prompting Leah to clarify that she prefers lean muscles over bulky men since they look better in suits. Same girl, same. It brings back a memory of her penguin days in the magic tower, when she attempted to headbutt his tummy but ended up cracking her fluffy head instead. There are some solid muscles hiding in there. Based on his appearance, physique, and abilities, well, aside from his wacky behavior, Leah straightaway tells So that he is her ideal type. She is so unfiltered, I love her! This startles So, who begins playfully teasing her again, prompting Leah to fight back smilingly, declaring everything is fine but his ugly nature. They eventually stop bickering when So leaves to speak with the captain, and Leah is approached by some concerned knights who question if Lord Sordell is mistreating her. She denies this, which surprises the knights because the only time So smiles at them is when he beats them while claiming it is part of their training. So they are glad that Leah is fine. What surprises her is when they imply that their master may have fallen in love with her. However, her face immediately shifts into that deadpan, unimpressed expression since she knows So's interest in her is the same as it was when she was in her penguin form. You know, cute and small like a pet. So there's no romance, really. She's basically claiming that it's completely normal because she's just too adorable? I love it! The knight then tells her that Sordell has the nickname Smile Healer, which Leah believes isn't too bad, until she discovers that when a knight does anything wrong, he beats them up then heals them repeatedly with a smile on his face. But why do I still think he's cute? In any case, Mr. Soneshine appears and informs her that he has requested that the captain choose knights to guard her since it is the house whale's job to protect their species, which is on the edge of extinction, making the penguin in her very anxious. Leah right away refuses any guards or maids, having already struggled to keep the maids away the day before. Scratching her head, she hears giggles and looks over to see a seemingly innocent knight with wavy, peachy-colored hair playing with a butterfly. Jackpot! She finds the perfect knight, so she points to him and tells So firmly that he will be her guard. She immediately sprints towards the knight and correctly figures that he is a cow anthro, which makes her very happy, and she requests him to be her personal guard. From what she knows, black cows are so nice and naive that even children can trick them, so she takes his hand and smiles, putting her trust in him. Mentally, our girl is overjoyed since she is confident that this lovely knight will never figure it out, even if she transforms into a penguin in front of him. Meanwhile, our jealous killer whale watches them and appears to be planning something nasty. Sir, calm down and don't hurt the cow! Today is our cow's first day on duty. And before I forget, his name is Angus, with the surname Beef. Kidding. Another reason Leah chose Angus as her guard is that when she was an adorable pengu in the Magic Tower, she had a personal maid named Prim, a yellow cow, who at times tells Leah about her twin brother, not because she misses him, but because she wants to punch his annoying face. Just like your everyday sibling things. Leah is convinced that Angus and Prim are twins since they look so identical, so she asks for his assistance in meeting Prim, which perplexes Angus as to how Leah knows his immature and messy little sister. Leah reveals that they met while she was still in her animal form, and before Angus can inquire further, she grabs his hand and tells him that she wants to meet with a friend because she knows no one in the mansion. Part 2 of her strategy is to trick Angus into helping her by sobbing, so she starts thinking about how much she misses her father, which causes her to cry. Angus soon begins to cry as well, promising to knock out his sister and drag her to Leah if necessary. Too much, but thank you! Just after that, So enters the room and is taken aback to discover Angus and Leah holding hands. Worse, he sees Leah crying, which causes him to give off an unsettling vibe and is ready to kill my cutie Angus. Although the misunderstanding was not completely fixed, Leah and So decided to go shopping. While Leah is browsing for clothes, So follows behind her and insists that she rethink Angus as her personal guard, causing her to sigh and warn him not to control her because he isn't her lover or anything. Well, our guy is just a simple man, so he casually suggests they start dating. But he gets a big fat no right off the bat. This is becoming a normal thing for them. Leah then returns to her shopping, but is debating whether she should use her emergency funds, which So notices. So he begins muttering that he is pondering whether to buy her everything because it may make her feel too sheltered. That is music to our penguin's ears, so when she asks how much she may buy and So tells her she can buy whatever she wants, say no more, mister. She declares that she will buy everything in the store. I mean, if I was in a novel, I'd probably do the same thing. They are now out and about when she spots familiar individuals from the Magic Tower. She lets out an internal scream as she sees that they're holding a cute photo of her penguin form. They consider the possibility that Sordell, the penguin lover, abducted her, but they quickly disregard the idea, instead thinking that Adelia might have transformed into a human and run away with the money. Listening to that, Leah looks directly into So's eyes and begins to shudder at the thought that he could be able to make sense of everything, all the while thinking the guy earlier could have been a fortune teller. The NPC solved the puzzle for everyone without realizing it. Leah is so caught up in her worries that she's taken aback when So shifts his attention and informs her about the carriage approaching them. She's a bit puzzled, but there's also a sense of relief knowing that So doesn't suspect anything from her. And she's curious about who's heading their way. However, seeing the tall, handsome man from the carriage really made her think that he's the male lead, Theodore, from the novel You Can't Eat Me, Mr. Wolf, and also the heir to the House Wolf, which is one of the most powerful families around. He initially exhibits a cold and indifferent demeanor, but once he imprints on Anemone, the female lead, everything shifts for him and he falls deeply in love. Sordell casually greets Theodore, which catches her off guard since they're familiar with each other. Theodore starts to wonder why Sordell is around when the penguin he was chasing has disappeared, prompting him to explain that he's been tied up with an important guest and gestures towards Leah, leaving her surprised, but she manages to greet him regardless. Theodore then swiftly changes the subject, asking Sordell if he'll be attending the hunting event next week, causing her to pause for a while. In the novel, at the hunting tournament, Anemone finds Theodore after he's been attacked. Though Anemone despised anthropomorphs, she still uses her healing magic to help Theodore out. Then, Theodore fell in love with her and imprinted on her. This causes Leah to be anxious because she believes Anemone is busy looking for her and fears that Theodore will die if Anemone doesn't attend the hunting tournament. Before Theodore leaves, he informs Sordell of his intention to win the hunting tournament, as he needs the prize. Sordell then wonders if someone in his family is sick, and warns Theodore that he's interested in the prize, which prompts Theodore to glare back at him, wondering if he's mocking him. Theodore swiftly informs him that they don't have any sick people. It's for precautionary measures, making Sordell smile as he agrees. Following that, Leah wonders what the hunting tournament prize is that causes Theodore to behave that way. So then reveals that the prize is a half elixir that, while not very potent, can heal most ailments on contact and is of high quality. Leah is enticed by the prospect of saving her father, only to discover that the potion is based on magic, which means it can't perform any actions beyond the magical world. He goes on to explain that making the potion is tough. It's not for sale, and it's been donated as a tournament prize, which leads her to question who made it and be startled to learn that he did. "Sir, what can't you do?" So then tells her that he's too occupied to take part in the competition, grinning as he shares his wish to observe the other anthros fight for the elixir. Most anthros dislike pure humans, but it appears that killer whales are also discriminated against by other anthros, since they mock how they can't stay on land for too long. The reason Leah's dad has been cooperating with the house whales is now crystal clear. They too are victims of discrimination. So then expresses a desire to prevent future discrimination against house whale, which makes Leah concerned that he is carrying such a wound. So she smiles at him, offering comfort and reassurance that everything will be well now that house whale has him. Sordell then composes himself before advising Leah that she cannot say such things to others since they may fall in love with her. But this is fine with her. What worries her is that if he doesn't join the tournament, House Wolf will seize the elixir. This gives him the impression that she wants the elixir, which she swiftly admits. So then smiles, and without hesitation, he hands her the potion that he brought with magic, leaving her dumbfounded. However, his actions make her feel terrible, so she warns him not to be nice to her since she might harm him in the future, like when the time comes that she has to reveal herself. This causes him to stop for a moment before offering that they strike a bargain, and explain that in exchange for the potion, he wants her to call him by his nickname. Leah finds the offer appealing, so she eagerly grabs the potion and quickly calls him so, which he finds disappointing because he was hoping she would initially refuse, then make that cute face before calling him by his nickname. Not gonna lie, I was expecting that too. Anyway, he smiles and declares that he prefers her over the penguin Leah. This leads her to turn away and instruct him not to mention the other Leah in her presence, causing So to think that she's envious of the penguin Leah. As she walks ahead of So, a sense of annoyance washes over her for reasons she can't quite grasp. Seems like our guy's effort to annoy her is paying off. That evening, Leah looks stunning in her yellow dress, which So finds appealing, and of course, our girl agrees. So makes it clear that he's referring to her, not the outfit. However, it appears that Leah is also referring to herself, evidently aware of her beauty. Tell him, girl! In any case, before they start bickering again, she lets him lead the way to the dining hall, where his mother warmly greets them. So swiftly presents Leah to his father, and she lowers her head in respect, envisioning the head of House Whale as a bearded blue whale, so he must possess a big body and remarkable beard. To her surprise, though, the handsome gentleman who greets her doesn't actually sport a beard. Quite the opposite of what she imagined. So guides Leah to sit and eat, but she can't help but feel nervous because Primo is staring at her. Not in a horrible sense, but simply because it has been a long time since he last saw a killer whale, while So discloses that his mother is the last survivor, making Leah wonder what happened to their kind. Based on what she knows, all whale anthros are grouped together under House Whale because there are so few of them, whereas other anthros like wolves are divided into several houses. There are gray wolves and northern wolves, but the black wolves are the dominant family and hold the title of House Wolf. Leah, being the straightforward penguin that she is very interested in this and wants to know why there are so few killer whales. The one who answers is Bella, who explains that there are enough of them to build a town, but that everything changed after something happened. Our dear mother gets so angry when she remembers it and stabs the meat so hard that Leah quakes with fear while she listens to Mommy explain that it's all due to the shark anthros. However, Bella decides not to reveal the specifics with Leah just yet, and instead warns her to be cautious around sharks because they have a one-sided drive to kill killer whales. Aren't killer whales supposed to be more dominant in water than sharks? Well, that's in real life, so let's continue. This is making Leah anxious, and Primo's promise that she would be alright because she'll be able to learn magic as a killer whale just makes matters worse because our girlie is only a tiny penguin nugget who enjoys collecting stones. After their dinner, Primo invited Leah along to his office, and as soon as she walks in, she can tell something is amiss since the once smiling Primo now looks at her differently and says he needs to confirm because he senses she is off. When he accuses her of not being a killer whale anthro, Leah appears surprised and disturbed, which makes Primo smile since he predicts correctly. There is no turning back now, so Leah asks how he knew, which causes Primo to smile, explaining that it is very simple. Her hair color differs slightly from Bella's. This baffles Leah even more because no one can tell the difference between her white strands and Bella's, but it appears that you can never fool a man who loves his wife so much that he knows how many eyelashes she has. I am already loving So's father. Anyway, Primo approaches her and says that while he isn't sure why she has been disguising her identity, he can tell she has no malicious intentions, which makes Leah feel terrible for lying to such a kind family. Primo then uses some kind of magic on her, which startles Leah, but she soon realizes that Primo is simply checking her mana response and determining whether she's a killer whale anthro or not. Killer whales have a strong affinity for mana, therefore Primo is fascinated as to why someone like her possesses mana and could perhaps use magic, causing Leah to become overly excited. But Primo quickly shushes her and cautions her not to tell anybody other than Sordell. After that, he asks what kind of anthro she is, promising not to tell anyone until she exposes herself. There is no point in lying now, so she proudly declares, as she should, that she is a penguin. Not just any penguin, but the one who ran away from her father Reynos, which makes Primo laugh so hard because she's the penguin his son adores. It appears that father is looking forward to some entertainment around the house, but his tone quickly changes to serious, making our poor penguin extremely nervous. While she begins to worry that he would tell Bella, Primo reassures her that she should simply call him by his name, or even better, father-in-law. He winks at her, making her stare at him with disapproval. It's only day one, but father is already building the ship, and I am here with all the equipment. Who else wants to help? Anyway, Leah draws a line and addresses him as Mr. Primo before exiting the room, and Primo is very much entertained because Leah is filled with Sordell's unique mana. What's more incredible is Leah's ability to hold the mana, which most people find difficult to handle. But from what he sees, Leah has no trouble with it. Not only that, but he notes that Leah does not fear Sordell, and she is the first ever anthro to be so at ease around him, given that he and Bella took a long time to adjust to So's frightening aura. Despite his slight disappointment that Leah isn't a killer whale, he joyfully settles down and claims her as his daughter-in-law. Now we know where So gets his naughtiness. Returning to our little Pengu, So verifies that she may be able to use magic because, well, she is a killer whale, which makes her feel guilty. This guy really enjoys teasing her, doesn't he? Leah wants to learn more about magic since she wonders if So's kindness is due to her mana. So then recommends that she check out the magic books at the library tomorrow, but he won't be able to accompany her because Reynos has requested his assistance in finding his daughter. I actually want to see her back with Reynos. Since So would be busy for some time, he has prepared a ring with summoning magic so she may simply call him if something horrible happens. He then whispers the activation word to her, causing our girl to become pretty fed up with him. I have no idea, but it's got to be something cheesy. This guy begins blushing and reminds her that she can only use it once before kneeling and confessing that he has fallen for her and is requesting permission to court her. Oh my gosh, I would have said yes right away. But Leah uses her signature distaste grumble to turn him down. So changes his act and now pretends to be a servant pleading for her pity, which entertains Leah so much that she accepts the ring immediately. He knows exactly how to get her. Cute. The next morning, So leaves early for the magic tower while Angus knocks on Leah's door, effortlessly carrying a sack and informing her that he has completed her request. He sets down the sack, and our girl is horrified to find that Prim is inside. What the? He kidnapped his own twin? This Angus really has a beef with Prim. When Prim wakes up, she instantly attacks Angus, while Leah, who looks traumatized by the two, apologizes to her. Prim stops smacking her brother and glares at Leah, asking why she's wasting her valuable time when she could be searching for her Miss Leah. As soon as Angus leaves the room, Leah tells Prim that she is the Adelia she's looking for. But Prim, as expected, does not believe her. However, as Prim is about to exit the room, Leah repeats the secrets that only she knows. Prim once called her father an annoying tower master, how she accidentally destroyed her father's precious potions, and many other occurrences that Leah covered for her. Not convincing enough? Leah is aware of other deep secrets, such as Prim's back tattoo with her ex's name and the fact that her umbrella is her best weapon. Prim immediately begs Leah to stop exposing further secrets and approaches her, but our penguin slaps her hand away for not remembering her sooner, causing Prim to cry because her anger confirms that she is the Miss Leah she knows. It smells like I'm going to enjoy this duo. Suddenly, the door swings open as it appears that Angus overheard their conversations and is now shocked that Leah is the missing penguin, causing our girls to stare at him as if they were ready to kill him. In the end, poor Angus is punished by kneeling on the floor with his arms straight up as the two ladies continue their discussion. Prim describes Reynos as a walking corpse, looking for her everywhere, while Leah explains how she's pretending to be a killer whale so she may stay at the house whale until she learns how to shift into an animal because her father despises anthros. Angus joins their talk and questions why Leah is so skilled at speaking when she has only recently become a human, prompting Prim to explain that her lady is a genius. But the truth is, she's from another world. Anyway, Leah smiles and believes that being caught by Angus is for the best because now he and Prim can help her. And Angus will not bother notifying his master about her because she has decided to inform him that Lord Primo is already aware. Now that's done, she intends to attend the hunting tour next week to help the male lead, Theo. Oh no, this makes me nervous. How about you return home and let the female lead do her thing? On the morning of the hunting tournament, Leah is still hopeful Anemone will join the event. But when Prim tells her that Anemone is still out looking for Pingu Leah, Leah makes the decision to save Theodore by herself. Although she worries that he might imprint on her and doubts her ability to save him, she quickly reassures herself that she's prepared for any eventuality. However, she suddenly flops into her penguin form, making her think about the reasons for her unexpected transformation, and feels a sense of urgency as she realizes the maid is nearly there to wake her. Suddenly, a knock on her door engulfs her in a whirlwind of anxiety, and upon realizing it's Sordell who wishes to see her before he leaves, she feels an overwhelming urge to shout loudly. When he doesn't hear a response, So assumes she's still asleep and decides to wake her. He opens the door, causing Penguin Leah to hide beneath the bed, wishing for So to leave quickly. Upon noticing Leah's empty room, he concludes she must be out for a morning walk and promptly exits, allowing Leah to breathe a sigh of relief and choose to remain hidden until she transforms back into her human self. I miss Penguin Leah. However, outside her door, So can't help but smile, totally amazed that he's managed to catch a glimpse of Penguin Leah hiding beneath her bed. Knowing she'll be angry, he enchants her with his magic to calm her worry so she'll forgive him for taking a pic. Oh my gosh, he has a picture of Penguin Leah's bum! Luckily, she changes back into her human form and makes it to the hunting tournament. There, she meets Lady Bella and asks for permission to explore a nearby river with Angus. But before she grants Leah's request, Lady Bella gives her a flare to use in case of danger, which she gratefully takes. As they walk through the forest, Angus feels a bit confused when Prim suddenly appears and joins them. Prim then immediately hands Leah the brown sack, which she opens and quickly puts on the brown robe, confusing Prim and Angus. Prim then gives Leah the potions for changing her voice and eye color. After all her preparations, Leah is confident that Theodore cannot imprint on her. Angus questions why Leah is in disguise, and when Leah jokes that she's going to commit a crime, Angus naively responds, "Okay," while Prim shuts her eyes as if she already knows her master will do it someday. Anyway, Leah instructs them that they must now follow her orders, but when Angus learns that they are heading to the hunting area, he pauses and complains that it differs from what she has told him. As they walk, a loud thumping noise fills the air, and a massive monster bursts onto the scene. Angus quickly tells Leah to step back, assuring her that he's got her covered. but Leah and Prim decide to take off running while he battles the beasts. Soon after, Prim discovers someone unconscious in a gruesome state, whom Leah swiftly identifies as Theodore. Leah sighs and is about to approach Theodore, causing Prim to worry, but instead of stopping her, Prim decides to tell Leah that even though she doesn't know her plans, she trusts her. Leah has read a lot of transmigration stories and has always wondered why the main leads never reveal their true identities to people who are willing to die for them. So she resolves to change that today and tell Prim everything. However, she realizes that the line, "I'll tell you everything when this is over," is such a death flag, so she settles to save Theo for the time being. Yup, better avoid the cliches. Leah then cautiously approaches Theodore, and upon observing his condition, she concludes that he is also suffering from poisoning as he is unable to move. She swiftly pours some of the elixir straight over his wounds, and a flash of light appears, convincing her that the potion is effective. Just as she's about to pour the rest of the potion into his mouth, Theodore suddenly grabs her hand and asks what she's up to, catching her off guard. Leah quickly pulls her hand back and explains that she's just trying to help him out, but this arrogant man insists he doesn't need her help. She tries to clarify that she's not trying to harm him, so he should appreciate her kindness while she's still nice. Instead, he tells her to leave, which really frustrates her as she thinks about all the effort she's put in just to save him. So she forces him to take the potion, and after feeling strange, Theodore grabs her as she falls on his chest. When their eyes lock, he turns red and asks her name, which totally freaks her out. "My darling, you need to run now." Thankfully, Prim arrives with her trusty umbrella and strikes him so hard on the head that the passing birds fear he has died. Prim is astonished that the person she just knocked out is Theodore, but she appears unconcerned and is simply gushing about how Theodore almost imprinted Leah, his savior. Leah has no time for this and only wants to know if she's been imprinted, prompting Prim to point out that imprinting kicks in only when their bare skins meet. She is aware of this because her ex used to work at House Wolf, and she has heard that a moon-shaped mark should emerge under the wolf's collarbone. So Leah instantly checks, and thankfully, there is no mark. Leah sighs with relief, while Prim feels bummed since she was hoping to see a love triangle between Leah and the two gorgeous men, Sordell and Theodore. Leah trembles in horror just thinking about it, but Prim is so into it that she believes it is possible with Sordell, especially since there are rumors that the Lord is in love with her. Leah insists that So is merely being kind, since he thinks they're both killer whales. But Prim is taking a chance that So may be even happier if he discovers that Leah is actually a penguin. After all, he is an MFP, or mad for penguins. Anyone else who is an MFP and misses Penguin Leah as much as I do? Regardless, Leah believes So would be furious when he discovers she tricked him, but that is something to plan for the future. For the time being, her task to save Theodore is complete, so she ignites the flare, and knights will arrive to rescue the sleeping Theodore. Wait a sec, can we be sure this man is actually sleeping? Is it simply my imagination running wild, or could he have overheard everything? Anyway, Prim returns home using a different route, while Leah is now with the wary Angus. He was scared that something had happened to Leah when he saw the flare, but his distraught face turns into a blush when Leah cheerfully tells him that he was excellent because he protected her from a boar. Aha! Leah finds out his weak spot, so she keeps clapping and telling Angus how great he is, which makes this adorable cow forget about his concerns and just beam with joy. He is truly a breath of fresh air for a knight. Once our sneaky penguin realizes she can compliment him to avoid receiving a lecture, she grins like a villain. However, her thoughts are interrupting her as she notices that everyone is assembled at the campsite. When Bella sees Leah, she runs towards her, anxious, and says she has been looking for her. Leah has never seen Bella so concerned, so when Bella asks where her flare signal is, she confusingly shows it to her. Thank goodness she took Theo's flare. Bella sighs with relief because she's been preparing to search for Leah after she thought the flare earlier was hers, which causes Leah to feel a mix of happiness and guilt at receiving such motherly love from Bella. Her worry begins to overpower her as she frets over what would happen if Bella discovers she isn't a killer whale, which both Angus and Bella notice, so she immediately fakes a smile and insists she's okay. The truth is that she is terrified because, without realizing it, The people around her begin to take up a space in her heart, and she does not want them to be disappointed when they discover her true identity. Bella chooses to divert the subject and tells her that a succession ceremony banquet will be held at House Eagle very soon, and she proposes that after that party, they visit the House Whale territory so Leah can rest easy when she returns in her animal form. This is a big no-no for our girl, so she turns to Primo for help, but this old man is looking to have some fun, so he teasingly smiles and even prepares to accompany them. His eyes twinkle while Leah looks frustrated because Primo isn't very helpful. Their attention then switches to the distressed knights who have just arrived with Theo on a stretcher bed. People start to wonder what happened to Theodore, but the bruise on his forehead stands out the most. I only see a sleeping charming man. Wait, is that the bump or his receding hairline? They've returned home because the hunting event ended in a hurry in order to find out what happened. According to what Angus has heard, they discover the assassins' bodies but nothing else, while Theodore is well, except for a bruise left by a mighty weapon. Powerful indeed. Now that she's heard enough, Leah decides to go somewhere. So she opens her door and is startled to discover So standing there, about to knock. I miss Mr. Sunshine. He becomes curious about where she's going, so Leah sarcastically informs him that she's going to see her boyfriend. So, being So, immediately expresses concern that he has forgotten their date today, causing Angus to gasp that the two are already dating. Leah wears her usual "what the heck" expression, while adorable So starts giggling and proudly showing their couple rings. This causes our girl's eyes to expand and her mouth to open as she learns So made a matching ring to the one he gave her, which makes her very irritated. I'm not even surprised. Anyway, So is visiting her to get a power boost, because it has been a while since they've spent time together. He also intends to share with her something amusing, but only if Angus is not around. Since he gave her an elixir, she decides to just let him do whatever he wants, so she asks Angus to go out for a bit. Now that there is no one to interrupt them, So requests Leah to sit down since he really wants to braid her hair. A guy who can braid is a huge plus. When Leah feels his delicate fingers running through her hair, she blushes because she knows he's being very gentle. After some time, So finishes braiding her silver hair, and for the first time, our girl drops her guard down and blushes, asking him to do her hair again tomorrow, which our guy gladly agrees to. Leah begins to feel weird when So looks at her with those flushing cheeks and sincere smile, as if his feelings for her will remain constant no matter what. Yay! We finally had a real cutie moment! No teasing, no bickering, just pure fluff. Although Leah clenches her teeth in anticipation of So's inevitable change, she wants to savor this moment and express her heartfelt gratitude to him nevertheless. After a few days, Leah meets with Prim to confess everything, from her reincarnation to the fact that she read about their world from a book, and Prim unexpectedly believed her lengthy explanation. Prim even jokes about if she was cute in her past life, or if she and her twin are safe till the end. But it makes sense to her now why she's so smart and tenacious, and she understands why she helped Theodore. She is so chill about it. Holy cow indeed! Leah is overjoyed that Prim accepts and trusts her, but now that she thinks about it, she can't recall who attacked Theodore, while Prim simply urges her to focus on finding a solution to avoid going to the whale territory. However, before that, Leah wants to learn about Sordell's true identity. Leah is now certain that the world is developing as detailed in the novel, which means she must take action to stop the disease that will wipe out pure humans, but she requires more information to do so. Prim is confused as to whether this has anything to do with So, prompting Leah to inform her that House Whale almost never appears in the story, and it is really suspicious considering how handsome So is. She believes So should at least be a supporting character considering his intelligence and strength, not to mention that in the novel, only pure humans could use magic, but now killer whale anthros can as well. After Prim figures out that Leah is probably wondering if So is a villain, our girl looks down since she doesn't want to think about it that way, but is curious. Prim has also discovered something strange. All anthropomorphs, including those higher in the food chain, are terrified when they meet So, but Leah is unaffected. Hearing this makes Leah grumble because in her mind, So is nothing but playful and always cheerful. Even so, she will address this later on. In the meantime, she must gather all the information she can in order to stop the epidemic and save her father. Prim instantly takes Leah's hand and swears to do her best to assist, because she too has met many pure human friends while working at the Magic Tower. Given that Leah has no idea how to stop the pandemic, her current goal is to find someone who could create a cure. Perhaps, like in other novels, there is some secret expert somewhere who creates drugs. Prim immediately stands up and declares that she knows someone who might have an idea, since they gather information from a variety of sources. But Leah senses that the person she's referring to is someone Prim no longer wants to see. It doesn't matter to Prim, and just as Leah defended her clumsiness, she feels it's now her turn to protect her. Leah is taken aback by Prim's embrace, which makes her realize that she has found someone who loves her exactly as she is. So she can't help but hug back. Oh, these two are so wholesome. But this is making me worried. I hope Prim does not die or anything. Prim is on her way home, but she can't help but think about how Leah shivered earlier and how much she wishes she could be there with her right now. However, she stops in her tracks when someone greets her and remarks that she is no longer searching for the penguin Leah. Sordell. Prim becomes nervous, but she still greets him and bluntly returns his question back to him, as he used to love penguin Leah too. So smiles and declares that he doesn't need to look for her because she's already doing well at his place, causing Prim to scream and be surprised that So already knows Leah's true identity. So appears to have known from the start because they act so alike. Anyway, So agrees to handle her resignation so Prim can start working at the House Whale as Leah's personal maid, which sounds too good to be true, so Prim inquires about the terms. However, she finds it surprising to see So look so sincere when he says he only wants Leah to be more at ease. Prim has been experiencing nothing but fear whenever he speaks, but that changes when he brings up Leah, so she decides to accept the work. So even gets her to agree not to inform Leah about their conversation through the argument that it would be amusing to see how Leah reacts if she is caught. So even promises to take a picture if Prim is not present when it happens, and the two shake hands to seal the deal. He found a fellow MFP! Today is the day they make their way to the person Prim knows, and as soon as they arrive, Prim starts bickering with Angus about how he should properly protect Leah, while charming Angus counters that he has planned to do just that. Leah's eyes shine as they arrive at the Information Guild, which, like any guild, is disguised as a bar, and they are greeted by a big guy. However, this guy gets startled when he recognizes Prim, who appears to be the baddie leader of this place, as she instructs him to take them to the guildmaster, Jack. They then head underground, where the big guy tells them that only Prim can enter the door, but my girl Prim here gives him a look, so he has no choice but to let the three of them in, but warns them that whatever happens inside has nothing to do with him. Something about this makes me uneasy. Leah is thrilled that they are on an adventure, so they go deeper into the dungeon. She has Angus and the ring that So gave her, so she doesn't have to worry. Look at her wearing it as a necklace because she doesn't want a couple ring with So. Someone appears out of nowhere and is going to hurt Leah, but our innocent-looking Angus promptly protects her while Prim yells, imploring them not to hurt her lady as our tiny Pengu acts pitiful in her arms. She is so unserious. Prim is growing impatient, so when she notices another door, she knows it's where Jack is, so she swings it open. Jack, a man with a half mask and yellow hair, appears to be seeking advice from his men about how to approach his ex-girlfriend, Prim, whether to dress differently or pretend to be busy so he can appear professional. Is this the same ex-boyfriend Prim got a tattoo of? Angus and Leah are confused, and they glance at each other with the same thought. They assume the guildmaster was, you know, scary and huge compared to this silly-looking dude. Prim is clenching her jaw and can't believe Jack is just as pitiful as ever, which makes this charming man blush with surprise at seeing her again. Prim merely gives him a chilly stare for nearly hurting her lady, brings Leah to him for a commission, and then proceeds to ignore him altogether. Jack appears to have been investigating Leah since Prim gave up looking for Penguin Leah after meeting her, so he asks Leah what she did to Prim in a concerned tone. Our girl picks up on Jack's jealousy in his tone and decides to torment him by embracing Prim and then asking her to choose between them, to which Prim, of course, responds with Leah's name. This saddens Jack, But Prim is tired of listening to him complain, so she decides it is best if they leave, causing Jack to instantly stop them and swear to do whatever they want. However, due to their regulations, it must be a one-on-one consultation, which Leah agrees to, and she jokes that Prim will avenge her if anything awful happens. Prim's visage goes bloodthirsty, and she swears to do some awful things to Jack while Angus offers to help. These twins are adorable in their own way. They then prepare a room using soundproofing magic, and as soon as Leah walks in, she gets the chills because Jack's tone turns so frightening that she wants to scream. However, it appears that the gentleman here is simply begging her to help him in reconciling with Prim. Is he a dog anthro? I wonder what happened to them.
So guys, what do you think of the story so far? Please subscribe and turn on notifications for updates on this and all our other stories so you can be the first to find out when they're out. Thank you so much for your support. See you in the next one.